Alright, back in the shop here. We're going to slot a fretboard and I'll show you how quick and easy it is. It'll probably be a long video because there's a fair amount of setup, but once you get set up, rocking through fretboards, you can do a fretboard in about a minute and a half once you get doing several of them. So I'm sitting here, we've got some tools here. I've got a couple of jigs, I've got a piece of walnut we're going to use as a fretboard here. I've got a saw blade. This is from StewMac. This is probably the only piece of specialized equipment you need for this. It's a saw blade where the kerf is designed to be the thickness of the tang for the fret wire to go through. This was a pretty pricey blade from StewMac. I think it was $60 or $70. Ridiculously expensive. It's getting a little dull. When I'm ready to buy a new one, which will be soon, I'm going to do some shopping online. I'll measure the kerf on this, and then I'm just going to go out and find, surely there's a saw blade out there that is this kerf thickness, so I don't have to spend that ridiculous amount of money again. So once I do a little research and find the right blade, I'll post about that. Now we're sitting here at, we got a couple of clamps, and of course we got the Jim Beam. I'll put that off camera. Sitting here at the radial arm saw, universally reviled by woodworkers. It's imprecise, it's dangerous, it slings sawdust, and your workpiece is often all over the shop. You can take my radial arm saw from me when you can pry it from my cold dead hands. It is a fret slotting beast. So I'll go real quickly, loosen up the cover here, we'll swap out the blades, put on the StewMac blade and get set up for slotting. Quick and simple. Come on, baby. Cover back on. And slide it out of the way. Now, the jig. This is the magic of how this whole process works. We start with a board. This is a simple little pine 1x4. Might be hard to see, but there's right here, there's a tiny little post sticking out of it. That's actually a screw head. Screwed it in there, and then I use a Dremel to knock the head off. So it's just the shaft of the screw, the shank of the screw sticking up there. And then the jigs. Here's one that's, let's turn it this way so you can see. It says Uke 17.75. That's a ukulele 17 3/4 inch scale. So what I did is went out to StewMac.com. They have a little Java applet called the Fret Position Calculator. You plug in how long a scale that you want, how many frets that you want, and it'll spit out a formula. It'll spit out a spreadsheet really that gives you all the distances that you need to mark out where to lay out your frets. Now, I've got this marked in imperial 17 3/4 inches. You want to do that actually when you're doing the fret position calculator. Do it in metric because fractions suck. You're going to pull out your tape measure, your imperial tape measure, and it's done in fractions, but the fret position calculator is going to give you things like 1.032895 inches, and you'll never be able to figure that out accurately on an imperial tape measure. So do it in millimeters. So much more easier. You can lay it out in millimeters. So you can see all I did here was I marked where the slots needed to be, and then I took a hacksaw, made a little notch in there, then filed it nice and smooth. So what we do is we have this board and this jig, and it rides up onto that, the slots that I cut ride right up onto that little shaft of the screw. So I put it there, make a cut, slide it down one, lock it onto that screw again, make a cut, slide it down one, make a cut. Once you have this set up and you're ready to rock, it goes through very quickly. So this is one I made for a ukulele 17 3/4 inch scale. I'm not going to use that one right now. I didn't invent this. I got this based on this big jig that I got from StewMac. This one has a couple of different scale lengths on it, a 25.3 and a 24.562. That's the one I'm going to use here. So, quick and simple how we set this up. I clamp this against the fence, more or less like this. And then this guy will fit up on here, and here will slide back and forth. But the first thing I do, I figured out that the depth of my cut actually needs to be about the depth of this plate of steel. So what I'll do is I'll put my fretboard on the downside, the part that I don't want to be exposed, and just lower the blade until it's just flush with the board. There you are, just like that. Push it out of the way. Put the jig up on there. Now the other bit of magic, something every woodworker should have, double stick tape. Put a few pieces of double stick tape on the back here. Nice and easy. Peel off the back. Sometimes it's a pain to peel off the back. Alright, now we're ready to go. Now I set this jig up so it's on the nut slot. The very front slot on all of these is where the nut goes. So I've got the nut slot hooked up there, so I'm going to pull this blade out because my nut's going to go here. So I'll just slide the edge of the fretboard up against the blade so I know I've got the board taped down onto the jig properly. Just like that. Now I'll move up to the first fret slot and we're ready to start cutting. I'll put on my hearing protection. You guys might want to turn down your speakers. And there we are at the end. Pull it off. Pull the tape off. And we've got a properly slotted fretboard all the way down to the 24th fret. Now I'll cut this off. You can dress it however you want to. I usually cut just down to 45. You can do any kind of fancy stuff down there, but there you are. One fretboard's done. Fret markers, I generally put them into the edge, so I'll mark off where the fret markers we need to go, drill a hole into the edge, and then inlay a little dowel of some offsetting color. This I'll probably put maple in, sand it flush. Then I'll glue this down onto a neck. I don't have a neck handy, but generally what I'll do is glue this down onto a neck, and it'll be a little bit proud on either side. Clamp it onto the neck. Once the glue is cured, pop the clamps off, and then sand the fretboard down until it's flush with the neck, so everything's nice and flush, and then go into the fret slotting. That's it, and you can see once we got this thing set up, it rocked out this fretboard really quickly. And if you have 5 or 6 fretboards to go, this is the ideal way to do it. You zip them right out. Again, radial arm saw, a little bit dangerous. It's really a table saw that's just inverted. So if you want to do this on a table saw, you can figure out pretty quickly the way to use this exact same thing. Just turn it upside down, and now you're pushing it back and forth on a table saw, going through this same process. Quick and simple to fret a CBG.